Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here, and look what I got behind me right now. Isn't that just amazing? That is an FXLR ST Sport Tour. Isn't that just amazing? I think that's what that stands for. Look at that, just glistening in the sun. Let that soak in. Oh man, I love it. I love the fairing. I love the whole front end. Everything on this front end is just wow. Amazing. And look at that. There's the magic. There is the magic. 117 cubic inches. That's 1917 cubic centimeters. This thing puts out a whopping 105 horsepower. And get this, 125 foot-pounds of torque. It's 169 newton meters. That's enough torque to spin the planet. Look at that shotgun exhaust. Just a beautiful thing. Just a glistening in the sun. I love it in vivid black. I'm a guy that well, I do have some black motorcycles, but it's this is a very good. This tops my list as far as black motorcycles go. Just amazing, you know. So let's start with the engine. Milwaukee 8, 117 cubic inch, 10.2 to 1 compression. I think that's the same on this bike, because I just drove the Lowrider S, and that's what that one was. I think this is also rated at the same 125 foot-pounds of torque. I could be wrong about that. I'll check it. But look at that beautiful, beautiful engine. You know, overhead valve, 4 valves per cylinder, oil-cooled heads, 2 spark plugs per cylinder. This thing is a powerhouse if it's anything like its little brother. Just an amazing, amazing motorcycle. These are called mid controls in the Harley world. For most bike companies, that's a forward control, but just a very comfortable, very nice place to be. The forks on this are really something else, okay? So it's a, I don't know if they're show or not, I think they might be, but it's a 43 millimeter, right there, inverted fork, and I couldn't find the travel disc numbers. If I do find them, I'll put them on below. Those lead down to this dual disc brake front end. So we've got these gigantic discs. Again, Harley doesn't publish the numbers. 4 piston calipers, so this is a fixed caliper, floating disc, pistons 2 on each side. And look at this, it's got these deep bronze wheels, and look at it, that kind of looks deep bronze too, doesn't it? Just an amazing job there. And oh, while we're here, Michelin scorchers for tires. Let's see if we can find a size on that. I think it's a 110/90/19. Very nice handling bike, by the way. I haven't driven this to test the handling, but I've driven its little brother, and it did very well, very well. But look at that whole front end. Isn't that neat? This nifty fairing. It's a fixed fairing, so it's not on the bars. All the weight's kept off the front end as much as possible, so you have that, you know, that low inertia. But let's focus on that fairing real quick. You know, it's got these inlets to reduce the pressure back here. It's got these little winglets down here. It just looks like a well-designed thing. I've driven other Harleys in the rain, and what I found was they did very well. I would love to take this on a long ride in the rain and see how it does. We're going to take it down the road and see how it does for buffeting on the helmet. But I have a feeling it's going to do just fine. What do you think? Just a gorgeous looking thing. LED headlight. Looks like incandescent bulbs for the turn signals. And I believe the tail light is LED too. Yep, it is. So that's all that. Let's go up the handlebars. We get up here. We don't have the same configuration up here that we did on the LRS. But what we do have is this thing. And this is kind of reminiscent of some other Softails. I think it's 2.14 inch, but look at this. Let's turn that on. All your lights are down here, fuel lights, you know, all the little things, cruise control, ABS, oil, charging system, all that neat stuff. There's a fuel gauge in there. There's also a trip meter. Let's see, this is the cycle button over here. Now watch right here. I can't read it, I'm too old. A, B, range, time, RPM, so there's a little tack in there. We'll put it back on tack. And in the actual odometers, this bike has 23 miles on it. And again, A, B, let's find that tack. There's range. There's the tack. Okay, we'll leave it on that. But you know, everything you need in one spot. Do you need a tack on this? Well, that depends on the person, I suppose. If you're going to really do sport touring on it, you may or may not. I think you can get by without it. Harleys have got so much power down low. If one bike can pull it off without a tack, it'd definitely be this one. And by the way, while we're up here talking about the fairing, there is a stereo system that you can get for this. I think it's Harman Kardon. Not sure about that. We'll check on that. But you know, what a deal. So information button, horn, high lows, left blinker on the left side, right blinker on the right side, cruise control right here, start switch, hazard button, on off switch. The look at these beautiful black mirrors, this satin black, just absolutely gorgeous. Lovely levers. Harley has the best levers, I think, of all the bikes. I love the way they feel. Some people say they're too large and bulky. I think they're just great. They work very well for me. So we have what else can we look at on this front end? Jumping down below, we talked about the engine already. The engine is air and oil cooled. There is a little bit of oil that goes around the exhaust valve to keep that cooler. That lets them run a little more compression. Jumping back to the shock, it has a slightly longer shock. I think there's an inch more suspension on the back, and I can't find the numbers for the suspension, but you can definitely tell that the bike looks taller. So the wheelbase on this thing is 63.6 inches. That's 1,615 millimeters. The ground clearance, here's a great number, 5.7 inches. It's 145 millimeters, and that's really a good number. I mean, look at that. I like that, you know. I wouldn't say you should go driving over curbs, but I don't think you'd bottom out on this one. Seat height is around 28 inches or so. That's about 716 millimeters. And here's the best part, a 5-gallon fuel tank. I wish every motorcycle had at least that. And this bike is rated at about 47 miles a gallon if you're driving nice. So that means you'll get almost, you know, over 200 miles. So you should be able to go 200 miles between stops without a problem. The weight. Now, I don't know what the weight of this bike is. I'm assuming it's slightly higher. The Lowrider S has a weight of 779 pounds wet. That's 308 kilograms. So I would guess this is slightly higher. The I didn't mention this earlier on the other bike, but the lean angles on this are 31.3 degrees on both left and right. So, you know, a lot of lean there. A lot of lean there. Isn't that just a fabulous thing? So let's talk about the bags real quick. So, you know, we talked about the fairing. These bags, these gorgeous bags, look at that bar and shield right there. Just beautiful things. These are detachable. So you got lots of storage. Keep your gloves, rain gear, whatever you want in there. Lunch, whatever that might be. You pop this off, the bags come off. You don't have to have the bags on there if you don't want to. Very nice option. Very nice. And they're keyed, by the way. So you got the two bags. And I think they blend in very well. I think they suit the bike very well. This is a bike you could definitely do breakfast in LA, 3 days later, supper in Boston. You know, it would do it without any problem. This would eat the interstates alive. I just love it. And by the way, I love this. Look at that logo. Doesn't that looks very old school, again in bronze. You know, it just, all these details match. You know, the brake, I mean, everything. It's just very well done. That shotgun exhaust, I mean, just a beautiful thing. I was counting the blacks on here. We've got this crinkled black up here. We've got satin black, shiny black, or satin black here, shiny black here. It's a very good balance of it everywhere. By the way, I'm going to point out these covers. Aren't those neat? 4 covers. And by the way, that's crinkled black also. So is that. Beautiful, beautiful. The seat on the, I think it's the same seat as on the S model, and I found that to be very comfortable. I like this, guys. I just like it. I like it a lot. And again, it's got the 6-speed transmission. All the M8s I've driven have got wonderful transmissions. And the S that I just drove had a phenomenal transmission. And I think part of that was they've done something with the mapping on the S. And we'll take this out and see if it's the same thing with this one. But hey, I'm Fuzzy Biker. I'm gonna go take that hot rod for a ride. Let's go, wahoo! Okay, let's see if we can throw a leg over this thing and make her go. Up on her wheels. Kickstand up, power switch on. Look at all this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The sound of thunder. Harley made a deal with the motorcycle gods, giving them the rights to the sounds of thunder. Let's see what this thing does. I love it already. I love it. This is really my kind of bike, by the way. As an older guy, I love fairings, and I have to have bags. Let's see what we can do here. Can you hear that engine? You know, Harley's, the proportions are right, the sounds are right, everything is just right. Look at that, just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful turning bike. I love it. If you are in the market for a new or used Harley Davidson, get yourself down here to Lust Hills Harley Davidson. Ask for Jimmy, he can help you out. They've got everything you could possibly want. Tell them Fuzzy Biker sent you. Life is good, life is good, wahoo! Holy Holy cow. Look at that. This thing just, it's amazing. Seating position, my knees are higher than usual. It seems like the foot pegs are higher than the standard Softails. They're forward of my knees, my feet are. My back is straight but leaning forward slightly. I'm reaching for the bars. The bars are a good distance apart. I like that. Beautiful sound. Beautiful sound. We're tacking, it looks like just over right around 900 RPM. So much torque. The friction zone in the clutch is it's just right. Everything's friendly about it. It just does everything well. There's road speed. We are in 6th gear. Let's see what we tack at 65 miles an hour. We're tacking about 23.5. That's interesting. Let's take it down to 60. About 22, a little less than 22. How is the fairing doing? Well, my helmet is not buffeting. I can hear wind. Maybe a bigger screen would be nice, but my arms feel like they're protected. I'm not getting a lot of wind on my hands. I think you would be comfortable in the cold weather with this, and I think in the rain you'd certainly be good. I love it. This is one black motorcycle I would have. This thing is gorgeous. It did well on the 4-lane there. I like the way it performed. Of course, that M8 is so smooth from gear to gear. And the clutch, my gosh, does it get any better? It's an easy motorcycle to ride. It's just got so much torque down low, and the clutch has got such excellent feel. I mean, look at that. I'm kind of lugging it right there. We're 1300 RPM, 2nd gear. That's barely a twist. I wonder if the throttle is slightly less reactive compared to the S model, because the S model was just jumping all over the place. It was controllable, but it was very snappy. The ride itself, this, like I said before, this is an old beat-up, wore-out road, and so far I would say the ride is very good. The front end has got excellent feel. I mean, if you're one of them guys that drives on the front, well, this is the bike for you. There's, you know, they've got the low mass on the, you know, the fairing's detached. It's got their inverted forks. Just everything's right. Harley made a deal with the motorcycle gods, and this is what they came up with. This thing is a dream. You know, Harley engineers know how to do it. They really do. How do you make a 700-pound motorcycle that does everything this thing does? You know, it's got all the torque in the world. The center of gravity is so low to the ground. It just feels light. It's very good handling. I'm 200 pounds. I sit on here, and I'm sure I don't change the center of gravity that much because the seat height is so low. The long wheelbase is very good for bumps and very good for long rides, and it works very well on this bike. They've done it very well. I love the sound. Harley's got the beauty, the proportions, the paint, and the sound of thunder. That's one thing they've just got all to themselves. I mean, look how well this thing turns. And that clutch. What great feel. What great feel. You know, and I keep looking down at this instrument panel, dash, whatever you want to call it. And I kind of like that. It's minimalistic, but it's everything you want to know. You know, I've got my gear indicator, I've got my speed right at the top, I've got a fuel gauge, and I've got my RPMs. There's also a clock I can switch back and forth. You know, everything's there. Everything's there. And by the way, this bike has cruise control. Isn't that insane? Handling is just great. It does very well on these roads. I'm not getting jerked around. Even though it is a sports bike with the sports suspension, it seems to do very well. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, please hit like and subscribe. Please comment, let us know what you like about this particular video, and let us know what other motorcycles you would like to see. We are here to please. Wahoo! I could put 1,000 miles on this bike in one day. It's really that comfortable. You know, I said I'm leaning forward into the bars, but for some reason that doesn't seem to be a problem. The seat is very comfortable. Like I said about this earlier, the mass of these motorcycles, you know, the road has bumps and things like that. The suspension works against the mass of the bike, and the Harley engineers have really used that to their benefit. This bike is smooth on all these surfaces. Of course, it's got that cartridge front end, inverted forks, and that very nice monoshock in the back. I think the monoshock is, I can't remember, I think it was 53 millimeters or something like that. It's longer than the normal one. So you've got an inch more height. There's road speed. So this thing is a street fighter with a fairing. It's absolutely amazing. I think this redefines performance in Harley-Davidson. Amazing. And by the way, that transmission, this is where we usually talk about the transmission. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Very positive shifting into gear, you know, out of gear. Clutch is great. Incredible feel. I just love everything about that. It's a very exciting motorcycle to ride. So let's talk about handling. In the garage, it's a heavy bike. It's got a very low center of gravity. A little bit to get it going, but once you got rolling, you should be okay. Keep your hand on the brake. Going parking lot speeds, out of your driveway and parking lot speeds, handles great. It is a heavy bike, but it does well. 20 to 120, this thing's a rocket ship. It's a real spaceship. It'll do everything you want. Hey, let's do a brake test. Amazing, amazing, just amazing. So when I do that, this is a new bike, and when I'm not familiar with it, I don't really grab super hard. But what I find is a very predictable, very straight line braking system. It works very well. I like it. All right, y'all. If you are in the market for a new or used Harley-Davidson, get yourselves down here to Lust Hills Harley-Davidson, Southwest Iowa, exit 35 off of Interstate 29. Ask for Jimmy. He can help you out. Tell him Fuzzy Biker sent you. Life is short. Life is short. Get yourself out there and ride. Ride down to Lust Hills Harley-Davidson. Wahoo! I love the sound. I just love it. Beautiful, man. Beautiful.